Okay, Steve's outside pressure washing. He brought the skid loader back. He should be done in a second. It'll be a little bit quieter. Have you ever seen this trick? So I cut these boards and I want to fit them right in between here. I want 3 of them. Now you can see this is curved. So how do we get this to sit on here good? I need to keep this side flat. I want to put a foot on it, as well as a bracket up top to attach the top. So over here, slide my fence back and put across. Okay, sounds good. So just touching the back as well as just touching the front. Now, this changing the angle changes how much material you take out. So you just comb it out nice and slow, maybe 1/8 inch at a time. Ready? Here we go. I wanted to stop it to show you. See how it takes the blade right out of that? Now when you go ahead and mount this on here, it fits nice and tight. Okay, here we are. Probably final day of working on this base for Emily. And that's good because I got to get moving on here. So I got my siding all on, glued, tacked on. I put my boards on the side, glued, and I ran some staples through. Now I'm making these little feet, and I'll flip this over and show you. But these are glued and clamped for 24 hours. Now I did a pilot hole, excuse me, on a slight angle, and I recessed it, or I drilled out a bigger hole so I can countersink that screw. Okay, so now it's glued and screwed. And the last thing, I'm going to put this little bottom on right here. Just a little dab of glue and 2 screws here. And then I got these little feet bottoms. We'll attach on that. Okay, it's coming together good. I don't think I'm decided if she's going to paint this or stain this yet. These are nice heavy-duty 3-inch screws that we use on the job site. Okay, you can see how they just disappear. They're countersunk down in there. there, there, and there. And I'm going to go ahead and pre-drill these. I don't want to run a screw in there and have it split. We should do a video on how often I drop stuff. That would be a long, lengthy video. Alright, this one on here. Run it right up that. As well as out here. Use one for the pattern. It's not that critical. Now, could hit this with a sander, and I'm going to countersink these screws as well because I don't want them scratching the hardwood floor. Now, I used to have a countersink tool, but I have no idea where that's at. So I just got a nice big drill bit. I did hold one screw in a little bit, so just make sure you're countersinking the right side. Just taking it down just like 1/4 of an inch. Okay, I just brought the base down. I didn't attach the top, I just have it sitting on there. But that is how it's going to look in their kitchen. Like I said earlier, not sure if she's going to paint it, stain it, antique, glaze. I have no idea. That's up to those guys. My job was to build a base for it. It leans a little, wobbles a little. Just kidding, just kidding. Seems like it's pretty good. So we'll get it down there and I'll give you a picture or two of when it's all said and done. I pulled these back in. I got my pickup truck out of here. You can see I was walking through here one night and kicked the bucket. I always make a mess. So update on this. I went on to Amazon. Got a new carburetor, put it on there, same thing. So now I took the breather apart and that's what I'm focusing on. So I'll keep you guys in the loop. Great advice on the float, needle and seat, and all that. I tried it with the old carburetor, new carburetor. I put it on the other machine. The other machine's working fine. It's just this one. And again, like I said, I'm focusing on that breather. I feel like it's pulling. I don't know. It's just something to try. Oh my God, it is so cold out. So we just finished prepping our patio over there. The carpenters are building a tent around it for us on Monday. We're going to come back and pour this. So we woke up this morning. It was 17 degrees. It is now 24 degrees, so it's warming up quite nicely. It's cold. So the inspector just left, and he approved. We have a haunch footer through the middle to support the weight of the roof extension, and he needed to come over and see that. So we put our rebar in. He gave us an okay on the inspection, and then we covered it back up with the heat blankets. Let's head to the shop and get a hot coffee shop, and get warm. Oh, we stopped for a bite to eat this morning, and then the lady next to us was having a birthday, and she gave us these little chapstick things that she makes. So this is chocolate mint flavor. Did you use yours yet?
Not yet.
I just want to eat this. It smells so good. It actually worked pretty good. So thank you, Miss, who gave us these. Very nice. And she makes them. So there's no name on the tube. I was going to mention it on the channel. But what a nice thing. She just handed Steve and I each one and said, Merry Christmas. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Concrete with the Hosses. This is Friday. Let's call this Friday's video. I'll just show you a couple things I did all week. I missed a lot with the camera. I just didn't think it was too exciting. And I probably wouldn't watch it on somebody else's channel as slow as I was doing everything and moving along. I'd be very bored with it. But now that it's all done, maybe I'll just show you what I did all week. So one project I was working on was Emily and Grant's kitchen table. So there it is. I made a base for it. She bought this table. It had 4 legs, and she didn't want the 4 legs. So we took those off. It made a neat little base. Now I did capture some of that on the video, and I think it turned out pretty good. Now it's up here waiting to see if she's going to paint it, stain it, what color stain, what color paint. So that's up to them. In fact, it's leaving here, it's going down to their house in moments. Boy, I've been going on about this for quite some time. This has been here for about 2 weeks. From outside here, over here. This carburetor, I don't feel is the problem. So, the problem we had on the job site, just to bring the viewers that don't know up to speed. When you start it, it'll start fine, it idles, it takes longer to happen, but it still happens. If you go to full throttle, it happens in about 10 seconds. And what happens is fuel comes up out of this breather. So I took the bowl apart, looked at the needle and seat, cleaned that, put it back in, still did it. I got a new carburetor. I took the old carburetor that was on here off, cleaned it, put it onto my other power trowel. It works perfect. I got a new carburetor for this one, and it's doing the exact same thing. So I took it apart, checked the needle and seat, and everybody gave me great advice. I switched the shutoff closer to the tank and moved the fuel filter after the shutoff. Makes perfect sense. It just fit better up there. But not a big deal. Hang in there. The old gas line came right across the top of the spark plug, right across the exhaust, and that's how it was from the factory. So I made a longer gas line, and on the new carburetor, the inlet was facing this way. So I tried to rotate it. I didn't want to break it. The other one was loose and I can swivel it. This one was tight, didn't want to break it, so I just ran a longer gas line. It seems to be working fine, but I'm still getting gas coming up through there. So today I have this breather due, so I'm changing that breather. And then I got to thinking, heck, maybe the exhaust is plugged up, creating back pressure up through the engine. Could that be happening? I feel I've rolled out the carburetor. You know, everything tells me needle and seat, right? But man, I tried cleaning the old one, new carburetor. The old one works on a different machine. So, enough with that. Working on Tommy and Sarah's door. So I hit this with a belt sander after I epoxied it. So now I just have to clean that off. We're going to stain this today, and then we're going to clear epoxy over the whole entire door. So that's coming real nice. So I kept this on here. I was sanding in there. Now I blow it all out. I vacuum, get that all clean. Now every time somebody walks in and opens the door, it doesn't kick dust onto that. That's its own little room, and it's working really good. So let's head downstairs, and I'll show you the last thing, and I think you're really going to like it. Here we are in the lower shop, and I put new lights up. I did that the other night, and boy, what a difference. Got rid of those old fluorescent lights. So it's this time of year. I'm making new step liners. So I like to use everything out of the bucket. So I set it up there so that everything drains, and you can see it is empty. So a Reynolds company, it's a smooth-on product, VitaFlex 60. I've been using this for years. It works great, and it is so easy to do. I think everybody in this business should probably be doing this. So we have our step liners, our 7 1/4, our 4, and our countertop 2 1/4, I think, 2 1/4 inches. Excuse me. So I added this rope trim to our lineup, and that makes this profile, which is really cool. So I have plenty of these. We always use these. Remember when I made that? Maybe I'll get that done next week. So we go through these every year. Watch this. Trying to hold the camera. So this is the negative, and this is my finished product. Look how nice that is. Now this is a broken stone liner. We put this in our formwork so that we pour concrete against it, and in our step faces, that's what you see. If you watch our videos all summer long, you see us use these quite often. And it's neat because now I'm seeing people all over the internet using them. Hey, did we have something to do with that? Okay, so that's finished. I'll just lay this on the floor over here. And then same thing over here. Let me get this smaller one peeled up. You can see how easy they come out, but there's a trick to it. So stay tuned, stay with me. And again, let's just lay these out flat. And they're out of the way here. Nobody will be in this area today or for a couple of days. So each time I cast, I take my universal mold release from Smooth On, give that a spray. And this stuff is cheap compared to the polymer, so make sure you get it all. And then with my leftover material, I always pour a small one. I'm focusing this year on mainly getting our 8s. We have plenty of 4s and plenty of the trim work. Okay, so this stuff is super easy. I have a 5-gallon bucket and I put a mark in here at 2.5 inches and 5 inches. Equal parts of A and B. Make sure you mix this before you use it. And this one is thinner, so I put this in first up to my first line, then I add the A up to my second. Do a mix and then a pour. This is where I get polymer all over the camera. So you want to give this a good thorough mix. You can see how streaky it is. Make sure you give that a good mix. You have plenty of time to work with this. In here, it's about 55 degrees. This will stay wet and fluid for, boy, probably 4 hours. So plenty of time. Make sure you give a good thorough mix. Scraping the edge of the bucket, working the bottom of the bucket. If you don't thoroughly mix it, you'll get like a gooey soft spot in the middle of your liner, and really all you can do is cut it up for pieces. So can't stress it. This is probably the most important part. So I like these paddles. See how they're shaped? You can get into the corners of the 5-gallon bucket. Okay, put the camera down and do this with 2 hands. Material all mixed up. Molds released, very important as well. Here's a good spot right here. Now it works best if you start at one end and get a flow going, and you'll see like a ribbon in the polymer working its way right across. And you can top it, but if you start here and it meets, now you could get an air bubble. You just want that flow to go continuous. And always do your big one first. While it's kind of heavy, then you can jump to your little ones. See that ribbon I was talking about? You want your molds to be nice and level. So just stop, a couple inches short and let it all even out. Now I've made probably 20 to 30 of these, so that's why I go with the 2.5 and 5 inch marks. This is exactly enough to do these 2 liners. I don't want to waste any. This material, I'd be guessing a little bit. I bought it last year. I think it was $500 for 10 gallons, 5 gallons A, 5 gallons of B. One of these liners is about $400 now. And I'm guessing on that price. It's been a little while. It might not be 400. It might be like 275 though. So what, if you're in business, you can save a buck. If you work for somebody, hey, bring that into their business. I'll bet you they would really appreciate that, and that's one way to climb up the totem pole a little bit. Bring this into the company. I think you would get a raise real quick. Can you say totem pole anymore? That used to be a saying. Hope it didn't offend anybody. And again, with how things change, let's get a little political here. With how things change, it's all on how you use it in content. If you're saying something to get a point across, or an old saying or something, well, I think you know in your heart if it's right or wrong, and I think it's fine. There's things I wouldn't say that my parents used to say. Okay, so I just get a piece of melamine stick, like a paint stir or something, and I just scrape out the soft material out of here. You can see it just continues to flow, filling up to the right height. Whatever you get this on, be prepared to throw away. Alright, I just leave the rest of the contents drain out of the bucket. You can see it dripping. Come back tomorrow, that bucket will be just about empty. Breakfast time.